Well, it looks as if Sharon Shoesmith may be sticking with Labour. Well, Labour people from Haringey Council are certainly sticking with her.
Ah, isn't it lovely? That's your solidarity in action, mate. Solidarity against the public and people in the media who want to do nothing but lambast Sharon Shoesmith just because she was quote-unquote responsible for the casebook of baby pay.
Sharon Shoesmith is not quite sticking by Labour. She's taking Haringey Council to the High Court for having the temerity to sack her over the fiasco which was the death of baby P.
Yes, well I, as anybody else who's a decent left-winger, I support Sharon Shoesmith to the hilt, mate. Oh yes, mate, she said that she was a sacrificial lamb for political reasons. In order to save the face of the council, she had to go. To which I say, ha 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 ha, you wouldn't catch that sort of thing happening under Labour. The party's far too noble. Yes, I know Sharon Shoesmith is making these allegations, but while she's under incredible pressure, she's bound to say things which she doesn't quite mean.
Well, let's hope that she didn't quite mean the statement she made at her press conference not so long ago, when she stated that she had absolutely no responsibility. The council had no responsibility. They weren't to blame for the death of baby P, even though Sharon Shoesmith was supposed to be in charge of the baby P case, and she had been made aware full well of the abuses suffered by the little child. Next day, at work, she was dubbed Mrs. Shoesmith, our heroine. The chief executive of the National Children's Bureau, Sir Paul Ennals, sent Mrs. Shoesmith an email saying, "Well done, Sharon. You have been getting the tone just right." I suppose he meant that insofar as the result of the inquiry ordered by Sharon Shoesmith herself to look into the debacle of the baby P case cleared her and everybody else of any blame. Sharon Shoesmith said her department had worked effectively and said, "The agencies are not responsible for his death. The very sad fact is that we can't stop people who are determined to kill their children. I am satisfied that the action should have been taken was taken." She was rewarded by dinner by the council's chief executive, Ida O'Donovan. After such, Haringey's chief whip, Claire Cober, emailed her saying, "I have the utmost respect for you as a public servant. I have every confidence that you are the individual to get us where we need to be." Sharon Shoesmith ignored pleas and sat on evidence. Evidence which was even produced by her own lower orders. Well, you couldn't really use your initiative and take action against the abusive parents because that would be deviating from the guidelines, wouldn't it?
Well, at last you're showing a little bit of common sense, public, and seeing things our way. Oh, yes. Because if you had people deviating from the guidelines, using their initiative to get results, well, they're only going to prejudice their chances of promotion, aren't they? In the civil service, particularly now it's been politicised. You don't want common sense entering the equation now, do ya? You don't want a bloody renegade being put in charge of things. That'll cause all kinds of trouble and anarchy and headaches for the political higher-ups. Vote Labour!
Well, I'm sure this kind of attitude will more than honour the memory of baby Victoria Climby, for example, now that lessons have been learned and the system has been changed.
Oh, don't you dare be sarcastic to me, boy. It just won't wash. Because you know people in New Labour don't have a sense of humour. Yeah, so you've wasted your words again. not for the first time. And I'll tell you something else. That comment of yours doesn't make sense. Baby Victoria Climby is no longer alive, or indeed old enough to understand a single syllable of what you're talking about. So there was no need for you to have come out with that statement in the first place. But still, what else is new?
The lefties at Haringey Council were quick to slap Sharon Shoesmith on the back.
Though only metaphorically, of course, because otherwise it would be classed as physical abuse.
Shut up!
Well, I thought that would be relevant, seeing as we're talking about the social services.
But the fact of the matter is that instead of all the arrogant, gratuitous backslapping and the denial of responsibility now that the doodah has hit the fan, the people of Haringey Council should actually be making lots of noise about changing the guidelines and changing the policies which have hamstrung, apparently, social workers for so long that children are now still doomed to die. Because taking arbitrary action to protect the young kids in certain circumstances is still not allowed.
Oh! You don't know the first thing about Labour, do ya? You don't know the first thing about the implementation of trendy left, politically correct dogma and doctrine, which is why the likes of you out there in the public are always going to be doomed to remain second-class citizens below us.
Dickhead.
Yeah. Which is why we in the trendy left are always trying to hammer the point home to the bigoted public that the safety of children and their security is of paramount importance. Oh yes, mate, and that the children of this nation must always be protected from any kind of harm, from any quarter. But only if the pursuance of this wise and rational policy does not come at the expense of the job of a top-quality left-wing arsehole, you see. And just so long as it doesn't come at the expense of infighting in a very party and infighting in a very local authority which has done the most good for people through the years, mate. You see? That is why Sharon Shoesmith taking Haringey Council to the High Court is so controversial, mate. Because it's only sowing the seeds of dissent amongst the very people who have been the moral guardians of the nation and the social gatekeepers for society for so long, mate. You've felt the benefits over the decades, haven't you, mate? Vote Labour! Don't you realise that this kind of behaviour is only going to compromise left-wing dogma and doctrine, Ed Balls? Oh yes! Criticising Sharon Shoesmith just for the cheap publicity and public acclaim. How could you be chasing the votes of no-hopers and losers when you've got decent, solid... I don't think you know who your true fans are. You're a disgrace to Labour, Ed Balls. Step down and let somebody truly in touch have a go at running the children's ministry. Children's ministry. With backstabbing betrayers like you in charge of it. We're so close to an election as well. How could you possibly stir up this making a noise? People in Labour kept quiet about what happened under Margaret Hodge, and that was quote-unquote more serious. So we should keep our tongues firmly and truly held right now, and follow the good example of people in Haringey, and say that everything's all right. So I don't want you out there in the public worrying, you ignorant little arseholes.
Well, that's the lesson that Labour are likely to learn.
Yeah, and it's better than us learning none at all, as you thought. Turns out that you were wrong again.